mandatory minicamp is a wrap. That means players and coaches are out of office for a much-deserved break before things heat up during training camp. I'm Maddy Glab, and we are recapping the best interviews and highlights from mandatory minicamp and OTAs. Let's get into it. More than 30% of last year's active roster is no longer here, and it's not just the players. Buffalo has several new coaches too. It's fair to say the Bills have had quite the overhaul this offseason. While change can be tough, General Manager Brandon Beane says change can also be good. And who knows, it might be just what the Bills need to get over the hump. Here's why the team is feeling excited about a new chapter.
The guys who have since moved on, that's hard to see, right? It's a necessary part of our business. But the new faces, getting those players up to speed, there's kind of a new excitement around, new energy. I've been very impressed with, number one, the attendance that we've had. We've had great attendance throughout the whole off season.
It's an opportunity, number one, a chance to grow as a leader, to grow as a teammate, and rely on some other guys that maybe haven't been around but have a lot of experience in the NFL. Bringing in a guy like Mac Hollins and MVS and leaning on who they've been around. Getting to know new guys. This is a time in the off season where you get to know guys on a deeper level and get to know where they come from and what makes them tick. So that's always a fun experience.
It's definitely different, but it's exciting. It's just having new guys around. Always emphasis on what we need to do as a culture, keep building our team and showing the new guys the standard.
We don't have the luxury of relying on previous reps. We don't have in-game experience with a lot of these guys, so every day is a chance to learn and grow, and we're going into it with that mindset. And I appreciate the guys for how hard they're working.
Obviously, we got a lot of new players, so just getting to know each other so we could just have that bond. And I feel like teams that have a good bond, like it really shows out there on the field on Sundays when you're connected and you build that trust.
The wide receivers room has had quite a bit of rearranging this offseason. Khalil Shakir is the only receiver still on the roster who caught a pass from Josh Allen last season. Let that sink in. That means there are lots of opportunities for the new receivers and returning playmakers.
I think there's eight new faces or more. That creates a different dynamic, to your point. It creates energy. It creates a little bit of a wait-and-see approach in terms of the competition, the evaluation, who fits into what roles, how we build our offense around who we have. I really like the way that those guys are working. Coach Henry's doing a phenomenal job with them.
Our mentality as a receiver room is, we're kind of trying to learn. Everybody's trying to learn every different spot so we can play fast and not have to think about it. I definitely think us trying to spread and spread the ball and get everybody open, get everybody involved, allows for us to have so much more targets.
I'm obviously a big fan of Keon. It's you go through a draft process. You make sure you're dotting every I and crossing every T's, and that doesn't mean you're always going to be right. But we were sold on the type of person he is, his work ethic, his play style, and he has a skill set that we felt like we didn't have in the room that continue to evolve. He has traits that you look for and skills that you think you can develop, and with a great mindset.
He's a very smart player. Been getting in his playbook. He knows it very well already as a rookie, constantly studying, constantly asking questions. He loves football. I think that's first and foremost thing that you learn about him. He loves this game, loves the nuances of it, and that's fun to be around. And when you got a guy that's young and eager, he just turned 21, he's got a lot to learn in this game, and a lot to learn to be a good player in this league. But I think he's got the tools necessary to do that, and hopefully we can utilize his abilities. He's got some lofty goals as a rookie, and that's such a good thing. He wants to come in and help this team win football games.
It's been a blessing. I've had, just great opportunities, winning 2 Super Bowls and being a part of, those teams in Green Bay and watching Aaron win MVPs and be a part of that, man. So, hopefully I can just keep bringing over good stuff. So hopefully we can get Josh an MVP and a Super Bowl this year.
Obviously he's been around 2 of the best quarterbacks to play the game. He's very smart. He sees things through the lens of a quarterback. And when you put that type of mindset in a guy, especially with his tools, he's tall, he's very fast. He's gave us problems the last couple of years, and now he's going to be able to try to help us win football games.
With Curtis, he's extremely bright. He can play any of the positions, play inside, play outside, play in the backfield. whatever he needs to do. And so I don't see any difference in the style of play. One of the best blockers I've been around. So, the more Curtis Samuels on your football team, the better.
I mean, Mac is great. I mean, ever since he's gotten to the building, he's been a guy that's been upstairs talking to the coaches, making sure that, every single play, every, run play, whatever it is very detailed. And like I said, when he steps onto that field, he's like on go mode. And I think in our receiver room right now, he's probably the most vocal one, just bringing the energy, bringing the juice.
And I applaud Chase for coming here to see where things go, right? And so he's very focused. He's working extremely hard day in and day out and embracing not just the wide receiver role that he could play for us, but also the special teams role that he could play for us. So
almost like a fresh start for all the guys in the room. So it's not like there's any preferences or favoritism or anything like that. Everyone gets a chance to compete and work and play itself out in camp.
QB1 Josh Allen has been busy working this offseason to make sure his throwing motion is the best it can be. Allen has been working with a company called Biometric that digitally maps his throw so he can make sure it's as efficient as possible. The guy who finished with the most total touchdowns and most offensive yards in the league last year believes there's always room to grow.
I wouldn't call it a complete overhaul of my throwing motion, but definitely some things to work on and clean up, especially getting long with my arm and a little bit with my stride. So just trying to clean that up, and anytime you go through something like that, sometimes it's going to feel really good, sometimes it's not going to feel really good. It's just like, changing a swing in golf, and as long as you're trusting it and you keep working on it each and every day, results will come. Going back to last year, obviously a couple little tweaks, whether it was in the shoulder, the elbow, whatever it was, changes how you throw it just a little bit because your body's shielding itself from pain. So making sure that I'm just kind of getting back to how I'm supposed to throw and what my body is capable of doing. And sometimes it takes a little longer, sometimes it doesn't. So again, just trusting what the data's saying right now and just trying to feel it above all else. But I feel like I'm still getting better. I'm still learning a lot, and trying to be the best version of myself every time I step in this locker room. And I think, again, there's a lot to learn and a lot to grow, and I feel like we're doing that right now, and just gotta trust what we're doing.
We got a taste of what Joe Brady could do as an offensive coordinator last season, and it was pretty exciting. Now Brady has an entire offseason to make tweaks and changes that he believes will make the offense even better. Brady's not doing it all on his own, though. He wants input from his players.
I believe communication, collaboration, that's what's going to lead to success, right? I don't have all the answers. So I think it's important for the guys to, hey, this is what I believe, this is how I see it. Look, at the end of the day, this is Josh Allen's offense, right? You're gonna put together the offense around the guys that you got. So for us to just say, hey, we're just gonna scrap everything and everything was broken, that wasn't the case, right? And so there'll be some elements of things that I believe in, but it's more of tell me who we have on our football team and the guys and what they can do well, and we're gonna do that.
Joe's been awesome in terms of his mentality and his energy every day. It's contagious, which as an offense as a whole, I think we all feel that, especially come out in practice. The playbook's changed. I wouldn't say a ton, but there's a lot of changes and tweaks we've made from last year. So I think the creativity and kind of freedom he has right now in terms of just testing things out, especially in OTAs, is super helpful.
His philosophy of just how to get guys open in space and get different guys the ball and move guys around, I think that's what's super exciting. And obviously when you got to throw up the football like Josh, it makes calling plays really easy. And then just the talent that we have at different skill positions outside of receiver is also exciting. With our tight ends and running backs. So I think that we got a really good group.
It's not just the offense with a new coordinator. The defense also has a new coordinator and former linebackers coach Bobby Babich. The defensive players have been raving about their new DC. Here's why.
I think it's perfect for him. I think this is where he's going to thrive at. I mean, he was already a great coach, but just being able to call the defense, and his football knowledge is so high. It's the highest I've known out of any coach I've ever been with. So just that alone, I feel like just puts us in such a great position.
This will be 8 years, and the last 7 have been the best of my coaching career. Obviously having success and all the things we've accomplished and the relationships that are built here in this community, in this building, mean a lot to me and my family. So we're where we should be.
He has a standard of excellence for everybody that he's around, and
I feel like that's carried over from when he was coaching the safeties to when he was coaching the linebackers, and now as a unit, as a defense. His standard for how we operate and how we execute, it doesn't waver with who you are, how long you've been in the league, how long you've been in the system. And I feel like that's something that's really propelled everybody that he's been around to becoming the best version of themselves.
I'm as prepared as I can possibly be. I've got a great mentor upstairs who I've been with for a multitude of years, who I can lean on. I'm really, really, really excited for this opportunity, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help this team win a Super Bowl. And that's it, end of story. That's been the way I've gone about things, and that's the way I want to go about it. Well, I just want to be part of something special here in Buffalo.
Thankfully, the Bills didn't have any major injuries throughout OTAs and mandatory minicamp. They were down several guys at the start of mandatory minicamp, but got healthier throughout the week. I know there are two players who we are itching to see be impact guys again, in linebacker Matt Milano and edge rusher Von Miller. Milano injured his leg during last year's Week 5 game against the Jaguars in London, and Miller spent last season working his way back from the ACL injury toward the end of the 2022 season. Good news, Milano was back on the practice field in a limited capacity for minicamp, and Miller says he's feeling more and more like himself every day.
Credit to Matt and what he's been able to do with our training staff and the work he's put in. He's so focused. He was focused before this. I feel like he's even more focused, if that's even possible now, and wanting to get back out there for himself, but also for his teammates. And hopefully in training camp, he's at a spot where when we open up, he's available. It's just a matter of putting it one day at a time and trying to put practices back to back.
Me and him have been working all off season just with our communication, building our bond, and really trying to see things the exact same way, and to be able to go out there and have some 11-on-11 time, individual drill time, to where we're working together. It felt great, honestly.
So far I've been feeling great. I've been practicing without a knee brace. That's something I just could not do last year. So I know, like, during the season, once you start getting in the mix and in games and stuff, then I really should be able to go. I think my last 3 games of the season, Miami, Pittsburgh, KC were my best games of the year. I hate that it waited all the way to that point, but that's just what it took. I've just been trying to use that to springboard into this season.
While the pads aren't on yet, there's a lot that was accomplished during mandatory minicamp and OTAs. With so many new faces, the last month has been necessary when it comes to building chemistry and getting a feel for a new offense and defense.
Kind of getting to know those new faces, not just as football players, but as men, and just building those relationships, I think has been huge. And yeah, football-wise, like learning the playbook and everything's big, but I mean, the most well-knit teams, I think, win championships, so I think we've been doing a great job of that.
My ask of the coordinators is that when we break, or before we break, that they've got a pretty good menu built that they believe in and matches what we know at this point, at least, to be the strengths of our players. And then we get to training camp and we rep, so that we're efficient and effective with what we're trying to do.
As you can see, the guys were working over last month. The team is feeling good about their chemistry and navigating new wrinkles to the offense and defense. Next up, training camp at St. John Fisher University in Rochester. In just about 5 short weeks, we can officially say football is back. We are so excited to see you in Rochester.